it. There we go. Yep. Okay. So that worked. That worked. It'll come up eventually. Maybe not on that one. You might have to go to YouTube. Like the actual YouTube. And that's just the main screen. YouTube. Okay, so that worked. Happy Sunday, everyone. Let me mute this a second. I'll let a couple people join here and make sure my stream is okay. Make sure it's all good to go. Oh, it's moving. Is that? I think that's good. Yeah. All right.
Someone said hi from Portugal.
Oh, Portugal. Now that's one I haven't seen on the in the analytics yet. Portugal. I didn't know I had viewership there. But hey, welcome to the stream. So today I had a little bit of an innovative idea. A little bit. Just a tiny bit. But we're gonna get started here soon. Okay, so let's see how many we got with us right now. 12 of you guys. I'd say that's good. 13 it looks like.
14.
Yeah. Well, Fleet Tech it turns out if you plug in your microphone and your camera into the same source and don't have them different sources, it works, I guess. You do it the right way, it works. You do it the wrong way, you try to hodgepodge it together, then, you get mixed results, of course. That's what I was trying to do before. But, yeah, we got it figured out. But, we're going to run through this stuff right now. So, welcome to Garnett-Tools. As always, make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Hit that bell to be notified of all my latest uploads. Now, let's get into this because we're going to go over five tools that changed my life completely. These were tools that I always looked at like sort of like a privilege or a premium thing, something I didn't really necessarily need, but they were nice to have. And it turns out that wasn't the case. It turns out that these tools completely changed the way I worked. So the first tool we're going to get into is the Falcom R1 Pico. So this thing is just a little toolkit that is nice, small, fits directly in the hand. As you can see, it's not much bigger than my palm. And once you like touch this thing and go to use it, so you take a switch here, you open the case, and you look at what's inside of it, it doesn't look like there's much to be had in the way of tools inside this little case, but this thing has a ton of nice features. So just like the video I went over, I mean, after I post this, I'll probably end up putting a card in. But this is going to give you your sizes are clearly marked in the case right there, starting from 8, I believe, all the way up to, what is this, a 13 right there in the case there. But, so 5 sockets there. Then you got your flat or slotted screwdriver tips right there. Then it's also gonna give you the R1 Pico, the ratchet, of course, and you get the rest is gonna be your hex bits as well as your Torx bits. Now, they're going to be security Torx, but it's going to give you the smallest one. T10, I believe, up to the largest one is going to be a T30. And there's only one tool remaining in this case that I do not really use on a regular basis, and that's going to be the posi drive bit. There's one posi drive, Phillips 2, posi drive 2, whatever you want to call it, in the kit. I really don't use that much because here in America we don't really have that many posi drive screws. I mean, you do run across them every once in a while, but posi drive is not really something we typically use. But every other tool in this kit is of value, and it's one of those kits that you can just blam, toss in your hand. I can't tell you how many complete jobs I've done using just this kit because it comes with this extension, and then you can turn it into a T-handle, and you can put another bit in the tip, the bottom of it, and it becomes a multi-function tool. So I'll go ahead in a second here and I'll start putting this thing together to show you really the main feature of it is that really when you get into it, you can line this up and push it all the way through. You can then put a tool in the tip there, and you can also put a tool in the tip there. You have it like that. You can push it, make it an extension like that. So now you're ratcheting, and it's also reversible and it's locking swivel. Then you can also, if you need the leverage or the length to reach something, turn it, blam. Now you have a long ratchet and you still have an additional tool in the tip. So this is one tool that absolutely 100% changed my life for the better. It made me work in a way that I could complete whole tasks carrying just this. And if you know anything about, being like a mobile technician or anything, it's that you really gotta lug your stuff all over the place. And this made it so blam. Lugging my stuff anywhere was just as simple as grabbing this for the simpler jobs. Now, of course, the more complex ones required more tools, of course. But let's see this thing. So the R1 Pico is actually, so here's my review of it, my previous review of it. It's only a under 5-minute video, so it's a good watch if you guys want to check it out. But I think, if you look at these dates, I was the first one to make a video about that. But if you want to have a look at it here on eBay, here's the price. So right now it looks like, oof, it's quite expensive. And it looks like they've changed it up a little bit. Maybe they get this one. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely just R1 Pico. So this is a little different. They have changed up the bit loadout and they don't give you sockets maybe anymore. Wow. That's disappointing. Let's see from the Expert Tool Store. So the best way to I'd say that you guys could get this is through I think Ultimate Garage. See, this one is the set that I have. So if there's a listing for Ultimate Garage, here it is. That's the best place in America to get it, and it's gonna be $115. Now, when I bought the set originally, it was $85. And the funny thing is that in Europe or overseas, they pay like 50 of their currency. It's only $50. Well, not $50, but you get what I'm saying. It's only 50 euros. But once it makes its way across to our side of the ocean, it gets a hefty price change. But that is one tool that I never expected for my $85. If you could find this set cheap for under $100, I'd say grab it, because it's just one of those things, and not necessarily this kit. Okay, you don't necessarily have to pick up this kit. If there's a kit like it that has a multiple bank of tools or screwdriver bits as well as sockets and all that, and a little kit like that, I'd say grab it. I can almost guarantee Mac Tools is going to offer something similar, because Mac and Falcom are both owned by Stanley Black & Decker. So I can almost guarantee Mac Tools is going to offer something similar. Let's see. Let's search bit ratchet. Now I wonder if they'll have a kit. So here is that same ratchet. It's almost identical. I don't think it has a place in a handle for bits though, like this one does. But I'm willing to bet that they have this as a kit with that ratchet. And if it's reasonable, if you guys come across it, I'm telling you that it's something. I literally sat there and thought, like, dude, it'd be nice to have, but I don't necessarily need it. And when it really comes down to it, it just enables me to do so much more than I was before. But that's it. We'll go ahead and switch over to seeing what you guys are saying about it.
Let me ask if Falcom is making the Mac PT series.
So we're going to have to go backwards from the last comment. It's just the way we're going to have to do it. But let's see, where were we streaming from? Make sure we're on me main. All right. So I have one similar, but it's in a round case, but it's a small spinner ratchet. It was offered through Canadian Tire years ago. That's what I mean. Stuff like that. It's just like you never think that it's like a good value, but like when you use it and you actually put it to use out in the field, awesome. Have ever had a problem with SK tool purchase because it's getting hard here in the Bay Area? No, I haven't. The only thing I've had an issue with, and it's only been recently, is that I'm a member of SK Club Pro, and I did actually order my free socket, and it's been a while since I got it. Like, I haven't gotten it yet. It's been a while since I ordered it. So it's literally the only issue I've ever had with SK is that, because I'm used to getting that thing in like a couple days. But let's see here. Is Falcom also making the Mac PT series? What's the Mac PT series? Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. PT series. I think that's those Mac PT sockets. I think that's those special sockets. Or those special hex sockets? Is that what you're talking about there? I'm not really sure. Precision torque sockets. I don't know. I haven't really even looked into that at all. What's up, everyone? What's up, John Erickson? One head vice grip pliers and a pickup attractors. I've never seen a posi drag fastener, but when I do, I'm prepared. Yeah, I hear you. Is I think you mean, is it a locking head? Yeah, it's a locking flex head on that R1 Pico. One tool I don't like is the N10. What is that? That does look sweet. It is sweet, I'm telling you.
Somebody from Ireland just said hello.
How's it going from Ireland, buddy? Now that's one I do remember. I remember Ireland. Alright, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next tool. The next tool that changed my life, literally, is something you guys are probably familiar with on my end. I just have to make sure. So, these are the vampires. The vampires, these are probably the newest pair I have. I forget what they call them. The Brute, that's what they're called. These are, let me get this out the way. These are the Brute pliers. Now, what's special about these, aside from looking like your hog standard pair of pliers, is that they have teeth in the tip of the plier, which allow you to grab things and remove things. And for the most part, what I use these for is it's going to be a little shocking. Mostly, I use these to remove like broken fasteners. So you get to a point where you've had the fasteners partially broken off in the hole, and there's a little bit exposed. I just bust out a pair of these and I grab that exposed portion and then twist, blam, it comes right out of there. Sometimes it's really easy to get broken. I think just on Friday I used these to remove literally 6 broken fasteners, and they've become pretty handy in that regard. Even the needle nose and the bigger versions of these same pliers, they're very handy. I don't use the bigger ones that often. I use these and a needle nose more often because I'm more often dealing with stupid stripped little fasteners. Maybe the max I've dealt with it for a broken fastener that I would use these on is probably like a 1/2 inch or a 3/8, not half inch, 3/8 fastener. Yeah, I everyday fleet tech. The only reason I use these, like I said, is really to get at damaged stuff. When it comes to uh like stripped out fasteners, this is not like the tool I would go to for that. It's just having that advantage to having that advantage to just grab something. Like when you have broken fasteners in a hole, inevitably the metal, there's metal hanging out and there's exposed sharp pieces, and I usually like to try this before trying anything else. So, but the thing is with the van pliers is that they come at quite the cost. So that pair is gonna run you $35 alone for that pair. And if you use my code though, let's see, because it's been a while, but I do believe my code still to this day works on uh on their site. Here it is. So my code is Garnett-15. And coupon applies successfully, so that takes 15% off of your order. And I was surprised that it still works because I have literally not talked to these people in months, probably almost a year, probably 9 months. I have not, probably more than that. It might be 12 months that I haven't talked to the Vampire Tools people. And for some reason, my code still works to this day. We'll go ahead and show your comment, David. And the big difference between these and the engineer pliers is that obviously the price, the engineer pliers are green in color, and these are available here in America. So when you go to order these, you'll have them in 3 days, opposed to waiting for your tools to come from overseas. They also say that you get a warranty with the Vampire versions. I thought that as well when I first came across them, that they were gimmicks, but they turned out, like I said, I don't use them so much for what they're advertised to be, to remove fasteners like these. But when you have like a regular bolt that's broken and you get your chisel to like beat it out, usually you'll have something like that to work with, like an exposed, just completely round, sharp piece of metal hanging out of a hole. That's what I use these for. And I would like to say that it works very well, because in any other situations, when you come to something like that, you're busting out a drill, even though you got that little bit of exposed metal, you're busting out a drill, you're putting a hole in it, and you're putting an extractor in it. And these things make it so I don't have to do that. So anything that makes it so I can my drill bits keep their life and they stay not broken, I'm all for it. So I was going to get the vampires, but it was dearer than the tool to ship them here. Yeah, if you're in Ireland, I'd venture to say that it's probably more effective to get the engineers. The thing is that Vampire Tools, obviously they don't make the pliers. They have other tools like their knives. Their knives are not made by that company, I don't think. Engineer, but almost every plier is, and it's only America that they have an agreement that they're the distributor. Vampire Tools is the distributor for engineer pliers in America. They just changed the branding. Okay, so that's that. All right, what we have next? Okay, this one is a pretty good one. So let's move over to blue gloves. Have you used GP Duo sockets? No, I have not. The wrenches have the same wrench holder, same 15-degree offset. Only difference is the PT Precision Torque has an anti-slip open end. Oh, I know what you mean. I think so, but I think in that case of those Mac pliers, those Mac pliers or Mac wrenches, my bad. In the case of those Mac wrenches, they're made in Taiwan. They're not made in France, I don't think. If they are made in France, then yeah, it's a dead giveaway. That's all you have to do is ask where they're made. If you come across a dealer, don't have a mini ductor. I actually bought a Vessel JIS screwdriver, brilliant preset. Yeah, JIS. Well, they say JIS is obsolete, and they're using the DIN standard. But anything that meets DIN standard also meets JIS standard. So, three more tools we got to get around here. Let's see. This is the third. So, this, of course, is the Harbor Freight, also known by plenty other names. It's the folding 390 lumen LED work light. And it has three modes. So one of your modes is, I think dim. No, it's bright, then dim, then it has a light in the tip. So this is something that I have. It's definitely one of those items that I thought, like, hey, I don't really need that yet. But once you get something like this, it makes it very helpful when you're working on something that's in a completely dark area. Because what I would used to use is something like this, something that is a little stupid pin light that it really doesn't get the job done. And when you're working with your hands, when you need two hands free, you gotta like put this down somewhere, and yeah, you can't really light the area you want to. Once you switch to something like the Braun, what is it, the Braun, I think I call this the Braun 390 lumen. Once you switch to something like this, blam, you will never want to go back. It swivels, it flips and rotates either which way, makes it magnets to your surface, and it makes it so nice to work. Whether what you're working on is above the light or what you're working on is below the light, you can even magnet it to a piece, flip it around like that, and then spin the thing because it does spin. You could put the power button wherever you want to put it. It's just an amazing light. Once you realize that it takes standard 18650s, you can bring along a standard 18650 charger, charge the battery and the light, charge your additional 18650s, and this light can potentially be on all day. And for the low cost, because this thing is inevitably a Harbor Freight product, it's Very cheap. Now, it used to be a lot cheaper. I could tell you that I bought 3 of them. I own 3 of those, and the price I paid for 2 of them was only $25. Now, today, that's obviously not the case. So, without coupon, this thing's going to run you $40. And that's a pretty big jump, because when these things first came out, they were only I think $29.99, and with coupon they were $25, and they would always be out of stock. Anyone who knows anything about them, they would always be out of stock. Now, fun fact about this product is that it is also an Astro 31 SL. So if we go here and search that up, I think, yeah, or no, not a 31 SL. It's a something SL. Astro 30 SL. It's an Astro Light. So here's one that's Eastwood, and it looks like it's the same exact thing. Yep, that's exactly the same thing for $47. We're gonna want to go back and look, because the Astro version is sometimes 40 SL. No, it's definitely an Astro version. I don't recall where. 410. Okay, let's go for their lights. Lifting, hand tools, shop equipment. Where do we get your lights? Let's search LED light on their website and see if it comes up, because I know they used to. There it is. That's what I thought. I thought it was a 31 SL. So theirs is 310 lumen, they're saying, but it's exactly the same thing. There's the Braun for $39. So let's see if we can find the Astro 31 SL. And you get this thing should be like cheap. Yeah, here it is. Astro Pneumatic. Currently unavailable. So maybe because Harbor Freight has it, they discontinued it. But when that Harbor Freight light first came out, it was exactly the same thing. So here's what the price was, $40. Literally the same price. So yeah, that's the Braun 390 slim light. Now the thing I like about this light is that it cycles through, and then it's got an auto shut off. It would be a little better if it cycled through at first and then like had a memory. I have like 2 lights that are like that you cycle through, and it remembers where you were, opposed to cycling through every time you turn it on. So I think my Mac light works exactly like that. You set it wherever you set it to, blam, it comes back on where it was. And that's the nicest thing ever, because you could just click. I will always want this on, I always want it on low, to give me the most battery life out of the tool. But like I said, you get it comes with a protected 18650 in it, and you get some 18650s and a charger, and blam, you got an all day work light. Granted, you don't run the thing over and lose it. And that's the third item that completely changed my life. So the fourth, Okay, now this is going to be an item that everyone knows about, or everyone in America at least. You foreign guys, you might not know much about this one. But this is it's a Milwaukee item. So this is the Milwaukee 24, I think, let's see, 2457. And this was another one of those items that I thought nice to have, don't necessarily need it. It's a M12 3H drive battery powered ratchet. Now, these things, of course, are not impacting, so you can use a plethora of chrome tools on them, and it's fine to do. It does a max of like 40 something foot-pounds, max 45, something like that. But it's one of those things that I just thought I'd use a normal ratchet. You know, I don't need that. I could get away with doing a normal ratchet. But this tool right here, this tool makes you 5 to 10 times faster as a mechanic because it just spins off bolts. That's the point of it. And when you don't see the benefits of something like this and you're just using a regular ratchet, you don't understand how much of a godsend it is to be able to quickly and effortlessly remove things with a tool like this. And for the most part, the battery life on it is good. It's actually better than that that light. And it shows you your battery charge. It's you got reversing. It's nice rubber around the hand grip. And the only real problem I've had with these is the batteries. Now, the batteries tend to crack on me, and I've got some issues with like probably 10 batteries. 10 different, I don't know, batteries that are broken, that just will not hold in the tool. But if once I get one that holds in the tool and stays in the tool, blam, that's something that I use all day, every day, even more than my Falcom bit set, because that's something like I'm taking off bolts and other things more than I'm getting at screwdrivers and in the need of like Torx bits and hex bits, anything like that. More often than not, I'm getting at regular fasteners. And that thing, if you're just using a ratchet these days, if you're just like, I don't know, if you're just manually doing your job without something like this, without an impact, I don't know. I kind of think you're a little bit behind and you need to try something, at least try something like this, because it absolutely is a time saver. You'll cut down on time on many of the things you do just by picking up one of these, a battery and a charger. If you have no other Milwaukee tools, and even if it's not a Milwaukee, it doesn't even have to be a Milwaukee. It's just a 3/8 battery powered ratchet. Even if you don't have any other cordless tools, just pick out one of these and just observe how much faster of a technician it makes you. Especially, Joe, when it comes to those hard to reach places, it's just, Joe and David actually, yeah, hard to reach places, blam. It's just effortless. I love that thing. I can't believe it was like maybe 2.5, 3 years I worked in my profession without having one of these. And I could tell you right now, I would have done so much more if I had one. So that is the fourth. Okay, so what are you guys saying here? Let's see. had the Milwaukee exactly like that, and also cheap O'Reilly's Power Torque one. I like the O'Reilly's one better. I hate the bar trigger. Yeah, that's kind of something I dislike as well. Um, the paddle on it is kind of like useless to me. I don't like that at all. Where's my Milwaukee? I don't like the paddle trigger at all. The other thing I don't like about it is, like I said, the batteries. The batteries always crap out and crack and break. It's not that they don't stay charged. Don't get me wrong. It's that it never fails. I have like 3 good batteries out of like 12 that are not cracked and damaged. Even though, as you can see, I pulled that right out of the van. I didn't even clean it. And it still looks pretty good for what it is, for what I do. And that's one of the things I don't like about it, that pedal and the batteries holding in it. The light on it is also very useless. There are definitely some improvements. Now, one thing I do not appreciate is that on the newer ones, I kind of feel like they took a step backwards. Yes, they made it brushless, but the head is bulkier, and I don't know, and they still kept that paddle. So I don't know. I don't really see a need to update to this one because the one I have serves me just fine. I could tell you right now, I paid like $74 for the tool only, and here on Amazon it's $94.95. But I don't know. If you don't have a cordless ratchet, it's not necessarily that it's the Milwaukee one you should be looking out for. Like, maybe that's something you know, weigh the pros and cons of, depending on the battery platform you're already in. But if you already have the Milwaukee, I guess you're checking for that one. But if you don't, then it's just that you need to seriously consider getting a battery powered ratchet, because it's just like a no-brainer. It makes everything much easier, much faster. It cuts down so much clutter. You can, plan out things. But I mean, it completely changed the way I work. This is the 4th item that completely. It's not even like a little bit, not just a little bit changed the way I work. Just like, I don't work like that anymore. I used to go in my van, bust out a manual ratchet, and sit here and crank on bolts all day, just one bolt at a time, throw things down. But now, and it's all it takes is one little thing, one little addition to your workflow, one little thought process in your workflow to completely change everything. And that's what these tools have done. So that thing has made me so like, oh, I can just grab this, bust all those bolts loose, and throw all the bolts in a parts tray. When before, I wasn't thinking like that. I would think like, oh, let me, grab the ratchet, let me get all the bolts out first. Then I'll go get my parts tray, put them in there, then I'll take my panel off. And that's kind of like a backwards way of thinking about it. But ever since I got that, that's kind of like the way I work every time. If I need to take a part off, zip, 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 put them all in a magnetic tray, blam. Make sure I put it somewhere I can remember. And that's all it takes, is that little thing to make you think about what you're doing. And these are it. And I only got one more tool for you guys to look at. Wait. Let's see here. Where you guys saying? Let me switch over. Let me switch over to me. All right. So, it's hard not to torque the battery when wrenching something loose. I don't know. It kind of depends on where you hold the. When I have it, I make sure to hold above the battery every time I hold it. That's all. I have the Milwaukee exactly like that. So, yeah, we already said it catches on everything. Yes, the pedal does catch on stuff sometimes when you're in those hard to reach places. The Braun light is really fantastic. Yeah, I agree. It's awesome. It's better than more expensive lights than I have. I don't like the light from it would overcharge and kill its battery. Yes, okay, truck mechanic, you are absolutely correct. So one of the Braun lights, actually, I did this to two of them. If you charge them in like an overpowered charger or you charge it in your car charger, it would overcharge and not necessarily kill the battery. Because I was able to recharge just the battery, it'll kill the internals of the light, meaning you can own, so you will not be able to charge it using the the light here. You won't be able to charge it using the micro USB port here. You'll only be able to unscrew this and take out the batteries and charge it. It happened to two of my lights. I warranted it once because it was in the whatever the warranty period was for this. Actually, no, it happened to three of them. No, it didn't. It happened to two of my lights. The third one broke. So I'm wrong about that. So it is a problem. So you have to make sure you're using those little cheap low output chargers, because they don't even give you a charger with this light. They just give you a USB cable. So just make sure you're aware of what you're putting to the light, because if you put like an 18-watt charger on it, you charge it twice, and you're wondering why it won't charge anymore. That's why you left it after it turns green. There's two ways you can get away with that. Make sure you unplug it after it turns green, or you make sure you're only charging it with a lower output power brick. But other than that, I love that light. It's better than more expensive lights I've purchased. Someone needs to take the Snap-on CT761 dual trigger and put it on a ratchet with Milwaukee's torque. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying there. The forward backwards. I don't know if I like that. I want to actually be able to change my. I don't know, because that something like that requires changing the way the tool operates, and it requires it to send amperage the other direction, or voltage the other direction from which you were before, spinning it in a different direction. And maybe it's not necessarily made to do that. Certain tools we have today, like this cordless ratchet, is not made to be reversed in motor versus manually reversed. But yeah, it might be a thing. That tool changed everything. I got one when they first came out and used that so much. Even the Harbor Freight one works really good. Yeah. Husky makes a rechargeable cordless ratchet that costs $59. That's pretty good, actually. It's actually very good. See, sometimes that like changes the whole dynamic of a job, like truck mechanics saying here. So before those things, you sit there with a ratchet, or maybe like a right angle tool, like one of those tight reach tools, and like spend your life trying to get at bolts you really can't reach. Something you're supposed to take apart a whole group of something. Maybe you're supposed to, in my industry, sometimes you got to take like a counterweight off to get at the engine. And maybe I don't necessarily want to do that. So I'll just grab the battery ratchet, reach my hand down in there, zip, 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 take off the cover I need to take off. I've met guys that literally take all day to change radiators. And whereas with that tool and a little bit of my know-how and experience, blam, I get a radiator job done in like 3 hours. something that they would literally pull the counterweight off for. And I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm too lazy for that. If you get what I'm saying. So I'm not pulling that counterweight off. It's too much work for me. It's too heavy. Too much too much that could go wrong in most cases, because most places don't have a crane and you're stuck lifting the counterweight off with another forklift. No, I don't want to put myself in danger like that. I'll just reach my hand down in the engine bay and work with it like that. And a lot of cases, you get things done faster by not having to take the by the book method, and you can go I call it the flat rate method. It's any way really that you can get something done faster than it shouldn't have been. But that's it for the Milwaukee. Love this thing. Awesome. So tell me, how are you guys liking the dual? Because I have multiple cameras set up here. Just let me know. I got the microphone, I got the camera and the computer, and then I also have the camera to the side to show you whatever I'm showing you. So let me know in the comments how you guys are liking this setup. If it's good, we'll run with it for a couple other things here. $23 you guys with me. $19 a yes. Okay, so we're gonna get into the last tool that changed my life, and this is gonna be a little bit of a surprise for a lot of guys, because it's not a normal mechanic item, but it's definitely something that, had I not had it, in many situations, I would have been screwed. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm trying here. I'm trying to get, a good like vibe going here, a good professional looking sounding product to put out to you guys, so I can keep coming at you with more content. But the audio, I've done plenty of work to greatly affect my audio. First time I've been in your live. Well, thanks, Will Adams. I appreciate you joining me. But the last item we're gonna show you guys is probably, now this one is not necessarily what I use today. I use a much better one, but it's a chain wrench. It's actually a chain wrench. So, when it comes to filters and things that I need to get off or turn, the chain wrench is just unparalleled. Because even when it comes, like, I'm working on everything from a little Nissan 4-banger engine all the way up to like Volvos, Cummins, and Perkins. So sometimes these engines, these bigger engines, have big filters, and not just their engine filters, their transmission filters. Some of these trucks have big. I've worked on like huge container handlers that have huge filters, and the chain wrench makes it so no matter how tight that filter was on there, you wrap that chain wrench around it, blam. If it's too tight, you take a hammer to the end of the chain wrench, and blam, it's off of there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no pounding. There's no pounding a screwdriver through that filter to see if you can twist it off there. There's no really I don't know how else there's no getting a big pair of channel locks and trying to wrap it around there. No, you take the chain wrench, you wrap it around that filter, pop, 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 it's spinning off. I've been in situations where this same chain wrench, has done me more good than an actual filter wrench. Than the band ones that completely wrap around the wrench and have the handle where you pull them to tension them, and it's a band that completely encapsulates that wrench, almost like a chain wrench does, but it's a metal band. No, have not have not been nearly as good. I've broken like 3 or 4 of those band type uh, filter wrenches, but this chain wrench, pull it out, wrap it around that filter, smack, smack with a hammer, it's coming off. And that is something, because when you're in the middle of a PM and something like that happens, you've already mangled the filter. You can't return that piece of equipment. And in our case, in the equipment case, you're talking about uh, the cheapest piece of equipment is probably $50,000. So that's a $50,000 asset you just downed because you can't get the filter off. And be it might not be your fault. It might be another person from your company's fault. It might be another company's fault. Either way, you don't want to be the guy that puts this machine down because of a filter. Like I said, 50,000. It might not be 50,000. The most of the pieces of equipment I work on are $300,000. So you come across one of those and you tell a customer that you can't use your $300,000 asset because I can't get the filter off. And I was in the middle of a PM. I came across this filter, couldn't get it off. Now it's mangled. It's leaking. This chain wrench, blam. It's just something. If you're an equipment mechanic and you work on anything out in the field, you need it. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. You need a chain wrench like this. You possibly even need a longer one than this. Now, I've since moved on from this particular chain wrench because I use a better proto one, but a chain wrench is a necessary thing. And they're so cheap that I could make a case that even regular mechanics could use it, because in the situation that you need to get a filter off, the chain wrench is the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get it off with a chain wrench, then you're looking at different measures. Okay. And this is not the only type of chain wrench they make. They make them without the handle where you can stick a ratchet in the end of it. Kind of like what those fabric band oil filters look like. Oil filter wrenches. If any of you've seen some of those, they make chain wrenches like that as well. So I'm saying a chain wrench is number 5. The last thing that completely changed the way I work, because like I said, I've been in situations where it's taken me an hour or two to get off a filter. And that's not under a normal piece of equipment. That's under a big, heavy duty. There's probably like 3 inches of dirt I'm rolling up under this piece of equipment, and I'm trying everything I could to get this big, huge filter off of here. And it's a transmission filter, and it's probably the thickest housing of a transmission filter you've ever encountered. It's thicker than a cast iron skillet. You know what I'm saying? This damn transmission filter, and I'm doing everything in my power to get it off, and blam, at the end of the day, someone came through with a big long chain wrench and had it off in 5 minutes. And I luckily had someone at the facility working with me, because I would have looked like a complete idiot had they not came by and helped me. And it was one of those machines where they only got one, If this one doesn't work, then I'm shutting down the facility. So, if yeah, yeah, if you're at all into, if you ever have to get a filter off, I'm saying this right now. If you will ever be placed in a situation where you need to remove a filter, make sure you have a chain wrench as a backup in case things go wrong, because it's something that completely changed my life. Once you have the tool to rectify or like sub in and fix some of the problems you encounter when you're working, it's just much better. And it's probably something that's more of a bigger deal for me because I'm usually a lone ranger. I'm a mobile field tech. I usually work on my own. A lot of you guys work in a shop, and there's other guys there that have a set of tools that could help you out, and that's not really the case for someone like me because I don't work with anyone really. Uh, I'm it. Something goes wrong, I'm it. There's no one. In my case now, there is someone, but they're usually not near me, not working right next to me, where I can just walk over and say, "Hey, you have something or you want to take a look at this, or you want to have a look at it a different way." Or there's not really many situations I can do that. So in the case for me, that I always have to have things that can get me out of trouble, and this is, out of all the tools I've showed today, probably the most necessary one I'd say is this chain wrench. It's just that necessary when you're in the field. When you're a guy like me, it's that necessary. Now, other guys, like I said, that are shop techs that don't really deal with working on their own or being it, you're the only one that it's going to help at all. Shop guys, you're not going to worry about the chain wrench. It's not that high of importance, but I'm going to go on a record and say you probably need one. Even if you come across something round and you need to spin it, you're going to need one. It's just one of those things. I have the Blue Point version and the Vice Grip version. I think the Dano, I think the Blue Point version is this exact version, the Crescent CW12 or the Crescent CW24. I think they're the same thing. I think they're made by the same person there. But let's see. Filters I change at work have a 1-inch hex on the end. And yeah, that would be beneficial but a lot of equipment manufacturers don't care about that. I have a rigid King Sports says I have a rigid strap wrench that works on the same principle as a chain wrench. I use the strap wrench for running large 3-foot conduit. It's too large for a normal pipe wrench. Huh. I use my strap wrench most of the time for PMing compressors. If it's super stuck, I bust out my chain wrench. Yeah, see, that's exactly the situation that I'm talking about. Like when you got a filter that's stuck, chain wrench gets it. It absolutely gets it. If you got the space to get a chain wrench on there, and it's someone literally followed the instructions on a filter too well and probably spun it on till it stopped. I mean, maybe they oiled it, or the worst case scenario on a filter is that they didn't oil the seal and they spun it on till it stopped, then cranked it a full turn, like the instructions say, and then the filter never got touched for 5 years. And that thing doesn't want to come off of there ever. So you get the space for a chain wrench, blam, it's coming off. It has no choice. I have a chain wrench. Let's see. Carolina Snap-on Dude says, I have a chain wrench made by Rigid. I bought it at a plumbing supply store, but I rarely ever use mine. Listen, It's very grateful. Now, I'm very grateful for you to never had to need to use that, but I use mine on a regular basis. Pretty much every PM I do, I use a chain wrench. They have the J.H. Williams chain version on Amazon. J.H. Williams version chain wrench on Amazon. Jack says, yeah. I've looked into a couple different versions of this chain wrench. I ended up settling on a proto one. Now my only issue is that I need a longer chain. That's it. I should probably get the longer handled version as well. I have the same length of chain wrench as this. It's just a better handle, sharper teeth as well. I think that's why I went ahead and upgraded this one I have here. It's because the teeth became dull. I used it so much. Used it so much on metal stuff that it kind of wore out. Upside down dog. I found a huge antique chain wrench. The handle was over 2 foot long. Didn't buy it. I would have absolutely bought that. That would have been mine. I wish I come across it. Because the thing about chain wrench is that you only need the teeth. Some of them, like the rigid versions, they have replaceable jaws. So you really only need the handle on that one. If you come across one that's real cheap and it's old and you see that the teeth are a different color than the rest of the handle, that usually indicates that the jaw can be replaced and the chains on these things can be replaced. So you end up with a much nicer thing than you should have had. The Blue Point one I have is 15-inch. Dano says. Huh. I don't know. Maybe they make different ones now. But I think I remember looking up the CW24 and it's a 24-inch. 24-inch. The thing is, I think that was a rating on the chain, maybe, not the handle length. Maybe I'm wrong. That one says CW12. I think that's a 12-inch. I don't know. So that's pretty much my 5 tools that completely changed my life. That's my list. So now I'm going to transition into seeing what you guys think. What are your guys' 5 tools or tools that completely changed your life? I mean, you don't have to think too hard. If you don't really have 5 or you only have 1 or you don't have any, let me know in the chat here and we'll discuss it because these are the 5 I could come up with. I probably could have come up with 10, but it would have been a struggle. But it's really these 5 tools over the course of my entire career. These 5, and most of them are recent adoptions. Yeah. The chain wrench, I've had a chain wrench for a long time. Just never a big enough one to fit big filters. That I still need to get, unfortunately. But when you get to using a regular chain wrench that can wrap around normal filters that get you in a bind, the value there is very good. See, let's see. Hubson 96 says having an impact driver dedicated to 10 millimeter helps a lot. So I don't really, that's why these are my favorite tools, because of what I work on and the industry I work in actually. A 10 millimeter is not something I use often. I don't I don't lose it often and I don't use it often. And it's crazy to think of because when you're scrolling through Instagram, you come across thousands of posts that, jokes about losing 10 millimeters. And I'm just like, yeah, I lose a 9/16 more than I lose a 10 millimeter. I lose a 14 millimeter before I lost a 10. I got all my 10 millimeters are here and accounted for. So if you guys trade me your 14s and your 9/16, and I'll give you my 10s. We'll settle this up right now. Fluke wire toner and probe set is a life changer. It says the signal can trace finds any wire in a wire cluster. Huh. That sounds pretty nice. And then knowing that it's a Fluke probably means it's hella expensive too, huh? What does that, is that like in house wiring or automotive wiring, or it doesn't matter? Hubson says 10 millimeter is used for removing pre-pad filters and opening side panels to blow out coolers. Huh. In what industry? 18 millimeter is used a lot for moving sump tank lids and depends on the size of the compressor though. Huh. What kind of compressors, Hubson? You can start out, Jack says, you can start out with cheap tools, but when you move up to Snap-on or Proto, your productivity goes way up. In some cases, I feel that's the case, but not necessarily all cases. Yeah. I think when it comes to like the basic hand tools, it doesn't really matter. Like sockets, a wrench definitely matters, but like a socket, you can get away with cheap sockets. Absolutely, any day of the week you can get away with cheap sockets. Okay, Hubson says we service air compressors like those big industrial in-house air compressors that run air compressors for like a building, or like the little air compressors, like a huge Ingersoll Rand built-in unit versus a portable unit. I venture to say you're probably talking about the built-in ones, the ones that are hard built into a building or something like that. Kingsport says all wiring costs about $90 to $110 depending on where you buy it. That's pretty cool. So you can find wires in a cluster. That's pretty cool. Oh. Hubson says I handle PMs. Most of the compressors I handle are 100, 200 horse units, but I service some as big as 400 horse. Wow. There's some big compressors, dude. I always wanted to, yeah, those three, he said, yeah, so it is those three-phase plant ones. They service the small ones, too. I always wanted to chat with one of those generator compressors, or generator mechanics, because you see those things on you see those things everywhere. Every hospital I go by, there's like a big Cummins compressor or a Doosan compressor, or I keep calling it compressor, generator mounted to the side of the whole building. I always wondered, like, what's the regimen that they take on something like that? You know, it's something that's sitting there the whole life of the unit, and you know it only kicks on in the event that power goes out or something like that. I've been inside a bank. I've been inside a bank data center, and the thing is that they got like huge generators. I know generators and compressors aren't the same thing, but I always wanted to chat with one of those generator mechanics because the service, I don't know. It's just, I'm a little bit curious on what the service regimen on something like a generator that sits there is. But compressors, though, those are in use 100. Those are pretty, every place I've been to that has one of them built-in units is like 100% utilization throughout the day. So what is the regimen for maintenance on an air compressor like that that's built into a building? You know, how many hours are you? Is it like a time based thing that you're servicing it, or is it an hours thing that you're servicing it? And what are you changing when you do a service on one of those and stuff like that? It's always curious to hear from you guys when we come across people that are in different industries. See, I got a YouTube comment. Let's see, I got some Amazon stuff delivered. Huh? Yeah, that was Friday. It got that wrong. Well, if it's okay with you guys, it's now 2:38. How long we've been running this stream? Let's see. An hour and 18 minutes we've been running this. And I think it's time that I go and get me something to eat. Oh, there's something else I wanted to show you guys. So now that we're about wrapped up here, I'll go ahead and show you guys my setup. My new setup. We're gonna have to break characters. Okay, whoa, we got some comments here. So 2,000 oil and air filters, 4,000 oil air filters and water separator, 8,000 hour coolant, all filters and separator. Wow, that's a lot of hours for something that's running all the time. Like our forklifts, right? Most forklift companies will specify like a every 250, and you're not using, well, most of them, if you got 100% utilization, we're going lower. That's a regular, you know what I'm saying? But maybe an air compressor, maybe that's on is that on the actual compressor unit, or is that the engine? Because, I don't know, it seems pretty high for an engine. But like I said, we're going to have to break character and turn off this background. So, that is of course my background. So, of course, it looks like I'm there. I'm not there. I wanted to show you guys my setup because it is ever so evolving. So here it is. This is where I was just showing you guys. That's the setup I have for that. That's the setup I was using before to get my video into the stream into OBS. And let's see. There's my light. I have sound deadening. Then I have Right here is my microphone, then a gaming laptop, then some tools to the side, and then I got this on arm. So this is pretty much my setup right now. And then I have my chair, my recording for when I do videos, some other cameras and microphone stuff up there. So this is pretty much my room that I have reserved for putting on a show for you guys. So that's that. I like it. It's a lot better than I had in the past. I don't know. Can I get this back and where it was? That would be a Christmas miracle, wouldn't it? So you can see it takes a bit of work to get that to be correct, and then I just turn back on the image, and I'm back, and I'm back. So yeah, it looks pretty good, I'd say. I probably have to get it back in position and get it perfectly looking better, but that about wraps it up. Hold on. We mostly work on the electric ones. Okay. Okay, stationary units that don't move. Now, are you changing brushes? That's my last question. If they're electric, right? Or they're AC, you said they're three phase, so they're ACs. So you don't have to change brush. You don't really have to maintenance those motors at all. Oh, okay. So that about wraps it up for the 5 tools that completely changed my life. So as always, make sure you guys subscribe if you're not already. Hit that bell to be notified of all my latest uploads. Now, here at the end, I'm going to let you guys know. I'm not going to run my end screen here. But thanks you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for showing up, checking out this live stream. If you guys have any comments, questions, or anything at all, make sure you put them in the description where I'll be available to reply to all your comments and all your concerns. But like I said, thank you guys for joining me, spending your Sunday afternoon with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. But that's it. That's all I have for you. I'll be sure to leave all the links to everything I talked about in this video in the description down below. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more videos. If you like, you can check out my Twitter and Instagram if you're interested. You can also check out my KC Toolcoat affiliate link. It's in the description. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.